I have pretty much always been a Colorado sports fan, and in my time being a Colorado sports fan, of the major four sports, the Broncos have won a championship, the Avalanche have won a championship, and most recently the Nuggets have won a championship, and the Rockies have only really been close one time, and that was back in 2007 when they made a crazy World Series run just to get swept by the Red Sox. 2007 is 17 years ago, and the Rockies have not even sniffed the World Series since then. In fact, since 2007, the Rockies have only made the playoffs 3 times and have only won one playoff game, which was a wild card round against the Cubs in 2018. In the last 2 seasons, the Rockies have not gotten over 70 wins, and last season they lost over 100 games for the first time in their history. All of this to say, the Rockies historically are a terrible baseball team, which sucks because of the Colorado sports teams, the Rockies are by far my favorite. So in this series, the goal is to rebuild the Colorado Rockies, get them back to the World Series, and hopefully finally win one. If you take a look at the rankings here on the right side of your screen, pretty much the only thing the Rockies are good at is defense, and they're still sort of middle of the league there. Everywhere else they are bottom 25, but not the worst at anything in particular, but really bad at everything. Let's take a look at this Rockies roster and see what we are working with. The only name currently worth mentioning on this starting Rockies roster is Nolan Jones. He's an 88 overall with A potential. He had a breakout year last year and is clearly the only thing good currently about this Rockies team. Interesting that the Rockies always end up with somebody named Nolan being very, very good. If we look at the rest of this Rockies roster, there's Ryan McMahon, just a solid player, a really good fielder that bats really well against right-handers, but is absolutely miserable against lefties. The big free agent signing of the offseason for the Rockies was Cal Quantrill. He's the closest thing the Rockies have to an ace currently, but 76 overall is not quite cutting it, and he's not exactly going to get a lot better at 29 years old. Another guy you can be at least relatively excited about is Ezequiel Tovar. He's only 22, already a 75 overall, but only has the B potential, so mid 80s is probably what he's looking at as a peak, but mid 80s is good enough to be second best on the team currently behind only Nolan Jones, because this team only has one player above 80 overall. German Marquez is coming off of Tommy John surgery, so we won't see him for at least the first half of the season. There's the longtime Rocky Charlie Blackmon, one of the few from the old guard that still remain. Formerly a Silver Slugger, won a batting title in 2017, used to be the heart and soul of this Rockies team, still is to an extent, but is definitely in the fading years of his career. Do we let Charlie retire a Rocky, or do we trade him away to a contender this season to maybe get him a World Series? There's Brendan Rodgers, who was a guy that was the top prospect in the Rockies farm system for a long time and is now 27 years old, still has the A potential, has 4 years of MLB service under his belt, and has become a quality player, but I think that Rockies fans were expecting a lot more from him. Of course, there is Chris Bryant, who signed with the Rockies, and the Rockies thought that they had found their new number 1 guy, and he's really just kind of been terrible since signing with Colorado back in 2022. Did bat the 306 in 2022, but definitely not the player he used to be, and especially I think he showed that last season. Is it time to consider trading him away? He has a huge contract and he's definitely not a part of this team's long-term future. There's Brenton Doyle. This is a guy I actually really like. He is already 25, but he's a 70 overall with A potential. He is a speedster that is excellent in the outfield with an absolute cannon of an arm, but he's not very good with the bat. And that's the thing that will really keep him down right now. He has potential to be one of our best players, if not maybe even our best player, just from those fielding stats and the speed, but he needs to improve the bat. It's not great. Elias Diaz was an all-star catcher last season, but he's also not a part of the long-term rebuild of this Rockies team. Kyle Freeland, if you remember, almost won a Cy Young award a number of years ago and has been really bad ever since, just completely fell off of a cliff. Back in 2018, he finished with a 2.85 ERA. He finished 4th in Cy Young voting that season with a total of 49 vote points. Definitely the best season he's ever had, and has been somewhere around league average to below average since then. He still has potential to be a bottom guy in our rotation for a couple of seasons, but he's also not a part of the long-term rebuild. And as for bright spots in this Rockies future, there's not a lot of good things to talk about with this Rockies team. The only future starting pitcher for this Rockies team is Chase Dollander, 66 overall with A potential, definitely the future ace of this team, I would say, but has probably a couple seasons before he's ready for that. Although with how bad the Rockies rotation is currently, I think an argument could be made for him to start right now. I don't want to hinder his development. He will stay at AAA currently, and we will monitor him very closely. If he struggles at AAA, we'll send him down to AA. Basically, I just want to make sure he's getting as much development as possible because our starting rotation is going to work around him. With starting pitchers other than Dollander, there's nobody else in this farm system that is really even worth talking about. A couple of these guys with C potential might reach the 70s in terms of overall and could be spot starters. None of them are going to be very good. And the same goes with relief pitchers. The only guy above a C potential is 38-year-old Daniel Bard at B potential, who's on our injured list. Everyone else is C or D potential, and none of them are super young either. Our youngest guy is 21, Angel Chivilli, who is a D potential player who basically is never going to see the field. Closing pitcher is the same thing. We've got a decent closing pitcher in Justin Lawrence, but after that, there's nobody to work with. Catcher is a small bright spot in Drew Romo, 22 years old, 62 overall B potential, probably still a season or two away from being a starter on this Rockies team. And sort of similarly to Brenton Doyle, he needs to work on his bat more than anything else. At first base, there's Eleris Montero, who is a C potential, 65 overall. He'll actually be playing DH. He will not be starting at first base. Chris Bryant will be starting at first base, but he's a decent bat, so I think the designated hitter is a good role for him. There's Michael Toglia. I thought it was pronounced Toglia, but I've learned that it's Toglia, so let me know if that sounds correct. Also, if I mispronounce any names throughout the series, please let me know. I think he has potential to be a starting first baseman for us sooner rather than later. He's already 25, and with the B potential, who knows how long it's going to be until he is truly 70 plus overall. At third base, there's Sterling Thompson, who is definitely the future third baseman of this team as soon as Ryan McMahon leaves. He's a 67 overall already. I have him down at AA currently because the fact that he's only 22, he could develop faster, I think, at AA than he would at AAA. But if he's absolutely raking at AA, we'll move him to AAA this season. And then, of course, the number one prospect in the Rockies farm system right now is Adele Amador, A potential, 63 overall shortstop. I think in real life he may have been moved to second base. I don't know if that's permanent, so I've still got him as a shortstop. He can play either, so it doesn't matter too much. He's another guy that primarily needs to work on the bat. He's not the best fielder either at the moment, especially playing a key position like shortstop, but definitely one of the future pieces of this Rockies team that we will be trying to build around. There's Sean Bouchard, who has B potential, but he's already 27, so I don't imagine him being a huge part of the team's future, but he can play the corner infield positions as well as left and right field, so he's a nice guy to have on the team. Then there's Yanquiel Fernandez, one of our other top prospects. He has B potential at 65 overall, and with how bad this Rockies team is, you could see him at the MLB level sooner rather than later, but he is only 21 currently. And at right field, there's a number of guys to talk about. Of course, Nolan Jones, a big part of this Rockies future, I would say, unless we choose to trade him away to get a bunch of picks or maybe a few other prospects. But there's also Zach Veen and Jordan Beck, both of whom are 22 years old, 67 and 65 overall respectively, and have B potential. Zach Veen, I think there's an argument to be made, could be on the roster today. His batting isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And then Jordan Beck, I think there's definitely some work to be done for him before he is starting level, but he's decent against lefties currently. But I think you can be excited about both of these guys. I think they're future quality starters in the MLB. But if we sort by potential, there are only 5 guys with A potential on the entire roster, and 3 of them are already on the MLB team. So if you're considering true farm guys, there's 2 A potential players. All of this to say, the Rockies are in a terrible spot, and they need prospects badly. It looks like they're going to be bad for a long time. If you have not seen one of my rebuilds before, I do long form simulation style rebuilds. I try to make things as realistic as the game will let me. So I won't do trades that only benefit me. I try to do trades that benefit myself and the CPU team I am trading with. And just generally speaking, I will not do things to try to cheese the game into making my team as good as fast as possible. We know that the Rockies are going to be terrible this season. If you've watched them in real life, I believe they are 2-7 now and lost their first game like 16-1 against the Diamondbacks. They're one of the worst teams in the MLB right now, and I would say it's very likely they're going to have a 100 loss season again. So my plan is to get through season 1 very quickly. Today we'll go through opening day with the Diamondbacks. We'll then sim through the Chicago Cubs series, and then in the second episode we'll do home opener against the Rays and probably sim through the rest of April at that point, because I don't think anyone wants to watch this Rockies roster just get bullied for a bunch of episodes in the first season. So likely what we'll do is we'll focus on single games here and there, but a lot of the time I think we're going to focus on individual players, specifically in the farm system. One thing I'd be really interested to do is to do a start on a player lock with Chase Dollander and potentially do similar things with like Adele Amador. Basically, the first season I think is going to be a little bit more player focused rather than team focused, and of course scouting will be a big part. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into opening day against Zach Gallen and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Welcome everyone to the first game of the series here against the Diamondbacks, who appeared in the World Series kind of very similar to the 2007 Rockies last season for the Diamondbacks, as they kind of made a crazy run, made it to the World Series only to then lose. But this is a very, very good Diamondbacks team with a lot of really good young talent, a team that wants to make it back to that World Series. A team that is definitely a lot better than this Rockies team. Our opening day pitcher, just like the real life Rockies, will be Kyle Freeland. Let's see how it goes. The first man up will of course be Charlie Blackmon. For these regular season games, by the way, I will have quick counts on. If we make it to the playoffs, I will turn them off. But just to kind of expedite the series, we're going to do quick counts. So he'll see another one. And it's a swing and a miss. For Charlie Blackmon, he's out at first out of the series. So we fast forward to a 2-1 count for Brendan Rodgers. Gets a good one to hit, launches it to left field. Not enough power on it though, and that is out number 2. By the way, I do play in a way that basically makes it so that the player ratings matter the most. So I do not control the PCI, that is all the CPU. And as for pitching, I don't really control that either. I just choose where I want to place it, and the pitcher's ratings decides where it goes. As McMahon will pop this one foul. Or I said McMahon, this is Nolan Jones up to bat. And a 1-2 count for him. Swung on and missed. A good cut fastball from Gallen will end the top half of the inning. So now we'll take a look at Kyle Freeland. Finished last season with a 5.03 ERA, went 6-14. Has not been very good in the last couple of years. Geraldo Perdomo is the leadoff man here in Arizona, and it's a 1-1 count for Freeland, who will throw a sinker outside. The 3-1 pitch will go back to the sinker, and that is swung on, grounded softly to Tovar, who makes the play, and that is out number 1. Emmanuel Rivera up to bat now after the first man goes down, and that's going to be a single to right field. Charlie Blackmon will field this one, get it into Brendan Rodgers, but a man on first for the Diamondbacks. Freeland with the 1-1 count, a runner on. This one is popped to center for Brenton Doyle, and he'll throw this one back in. 2 down. And here's the scariest man on the roster. It's Corbin Carroll batting fourth. Freeland will throw the sinker. It's great location. It's fouled off. Will we finally see the out? No, it's grounded up the middle and not rounding third. A bad throw from Doyle. So a runner on first, a runner on second, as we now face Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Freeland. Get out of this little pickle he's put himself in. That one's fouled off. The 1-2 pitch from Freeland is grounded up the middle again. And that is certainly scoring a run, as Doyle will try to throw a man out at third. Not there in time. And it is 1-0 already for the Diamondbacks. Not a good start from Kyle Freeland. A lot of slow grounders, just to good locations. means that we find ourselves down 0-1. So a 1-1 count to Grichuk. He'll look at a slider. The 2-2 pitch from Freeland is very outside, but swung on and missed by Grichuk. And that's the end of the first, but the Diamondbacks do score 1 to take the lead. Ryan McMahon will lead us off in the top of the second. Starts with a 1-1 count. The pitch from Gallen is outside, but swung on and missed. If you're curious, by the way, we are playing on Hall of Fame difficulty for both hitting and pitching. See another pitch from Gallen. That one high. I thought it was going to drop in. That's why I swung. That's on me. A strikeout for Ryan McMahon. Elias Diaz at the plate now, as this one is blooped to center field, but getting under it is the center fielder, out number 2. That brings up Chris Bryant, who is batting 6th here against righties, as well outside. 2-1 count for Chris. He launches this one to left field, got a good swing underneath it, and this is gone. Out of the ballpark. On the first at-bat of the season goes Chris Bryant. It wasn't hit super hard, but it found its way out of the ballpark to left field. And Chris Bryant will tie this game back up at 1-1. 98.5 off the bat isn't particularly fast. 378 distance, but a home run is a home run, and Chris Bryant launched this one. So after the home run, it's Ezequiel Tovar to hit. And that one is away. The 2-1 pitch from Gallen is a decent one to hit for Tovar, but he is out at first. End of the top half of the second, Chris Bryant homers, and we're all tied up. Now into the bottom of the second. Can Freeland keep them off the board this time? That is a hanging slider that wasn't punished. An absolute battle of an at-bat here. Can Freeland put him away? 2-2 pitch, grounded to Brendan Rodgers. Easy play to third. Chris Bryant makes the catch. 1 down. Eugenio Suarez up to bat. And it's a 1-1 count for him as Freeland will throw the circle change. Doesn't get the call. It did touch the zone, as you can see. We're back to a full count. Kyle Freeland, the pitch. Swung on to Ryan McMahon. Makes the play. Throws him out at first. And that is 2 down. 3 up, 3 down inning would be pretty good here from Kyle Freeland after a little bit of a struggle he was on in the first inning. Maybe he's getting a little more settled in now. The 1-2 pitch from Kyle Freeland is a slider that is singled into right field. In fact, it's probably going to be better than a single. Looks like it's going to be a double as Charlie Blackmon has to chase it down. And it is a double for Gabriel Moreno. The 9th batter in the lineup gets them a double with 2 outs, and now they are in prime position to get a run this inning. But back to the top of the order, Kyle Freeland could not go 3 up, 3 down. And that was another hanging slider to Perdomo. Keeps not getting punished for these bad sliders, but eventually one's going to catch up to him. And that is a bad curveball that stayed up in the zone, again not punished. So we'll see another 1-2 pitch from Freeland, and that one is rocketed, but right at Nolan Jones. And that will end the second. Not been super impressed from Kyle Freeland so far, but he's kept it tied at 1. Luis Montero will lead us off to start the 3rd inning. And not a good pitch to hit from Zach Gallen. On a 2-1 count, Montero gets a decent one to hit and hits it to second, but a missed play by the second baseman means a single or reaching on an error for Montero. However they decide to score this, he's on first either way. It was a good one to hit, was a little late on the swing, which is my bad. I feel like the second baseman should have made that play, though. They did not rule it an error, so that is the first hit on the season for Montero, as Doyle is up to bat and swings and misses. Doyle, by far the worst bat on the team. Really, the only reason he's at the MLB level is because he's such an excellent fielder. This is a slow dribbler. No chance Brenton Doyle's getting doubled up, right? No, he does not. Does have 95 speed. So fielder's choice to second. And now we're back to the top of the order. 1 down with an absolute speedster on first base. The 1-1 pitch from Gallen is low. On deck is Brendan Rodgers. The 3-2 pitch upcoming from Zach Gallen. And Charlie Blackmon fights that one off. A good circle change. That has movement away, so it moved further away from the zone, which is why I swung at it. Another full count pitch. Gallen high, but this one is absolutely launched to right center field. And under it is the center fielder, That is 2 gone for the Diamondbacks. Can Brendan Rodgers make something happen here after the leadoff single from Montero? No. That is going to be most likely a fly out to left field. It is indeed. And we leave Brenton Doyle stranded. So we go to the bottom of the 3rd, where Kyle Freeland, still on the mound, will pitch to Emmanuel Rivera. And that one grounded up the middle. That's going to be another base hit for the Diamondbacks. This time a leadoff base hit. Finds his way to first, does Rivera. And now Ketel Marte up to bat. Definitely a guy you don't like to see at the plate, as that is a great pitch from Kyle Freeland. And now the 1-2 from Freeland. Swung on and missed. Marte struck out. That brings up Corbin Carroll, who is 1 for 1 on the day so far. Has a runner on first and swings at a pitch very inside. And that one had potential to be a bloop single. Instead, it's an out. Charlie Blackmon gets under it, and there's 2 down after the leadoff. Can Gurriel Jr. capitalize on the leadoff hit with 2 down? That one is very low from Freeland. 2 balls, 1 strike. Kyle Freeland right down the middle with a curveball, which is not where you want a curveball. And the 2-2 pitch. Absolutely cracked to left center field. Brenton Doyle is there. Cancels the throw, and now the runner is rounding third on his way to home and safe. That is a mistake on my part. I tried to throw it to third base first, which honestly would have been fine with Brenton Doyle's arm. But then I switched it to the cutoff man, not thinking that it would fake the throw, instead thinking it would just pivot the throw. And I think that's what allowed the runner to get all the way home. So now it is 2-1 for the Diamondbacks. Another run given up by Freeland. And a runner on second now for Randall Grichuk. And this time, Grichuk will ground to third. McMahon can't make the play. Can Nolan Jones throw out the guy at the plate? No. Too fast is Gurriel Jr. And the Diamondbacks find themselves up 3-1 now after the slow grounder, which has been the story of today's game, from Grichuk. So 3-1 is the score. A 2-out rally going here for the Diamondbacks. No call on the slider, a touch low. So now it is a 3-1 count. Freeland throws, and that is fouled off. One more time. Freeland strikes him out and gets out of the inning, but does give up 2 runs, one of which I think you could argue is Brenton Doyle's fault. And by Brenton Doyle's fault, I mean my fault. Nolan Jones up to bat to start the top of the 4th inning, as Gallen launches this one, and Jones will fly out to center field. That brings up Ryan McMahon with 1 gone. Gallen throws, and that is low. The 2-1 pitch. Low again. 3-1 count. Can McMahon get on base? 3-1 pitch is a good one to hit, and McMahon launches it to right center field into the gap, and this is going to easily be a double for him. If he had more speed, it could have been a triple probably. But we will take a double from Ryan McMahon with 1 gone. And now coming up to the plate is Elias Diaz. So the catcher, Elias Diaz at the plate. Gallen, the pitch. This one is blooped, but going to get under it is the center fielder. And I had to send McMahon back to second because he just has no speed. So Chris Bryant back up, solo homered the last time. Would be a 2-run homer, which would tie up the game this time if he can get under another one. We shall see, but instead he grounds it to short. Routine play, and that should end the top of the 4th, and it does. On to the bottom of the 4th. Freeland getting no run support, which is pretty typical of the Rockies, gotta say, as this is Tovar trying to make the play. I honestly didn't think he grabbed it, so I didn't press the button. That's on me again. 2-1 count for Gabriel Moreno as they have a runner on, and he's taking off for second. Is that called a fair ball? It is. The hit and run is going to pay off, as they're probably going to score another one here. And a bad throw from Charlie Blackmon goes all the way to the middle of the infield, and now it's 4-1 for the Diamondbacks. That looked like a foul ball to me, but they're saying it hit the line, and I think that they might be right. That is very, very close. Yeah, I think it hit the line. That is a fair ball. Brutal, brutal game so far for the Rockies. Not quite as brutal as what happened in real life. A grounder up the middle. Can Charlie Blackmon throw the guy out at home? clearly does not have that accurate of an arm as he misses another throw. And it is now 5-1 for the Diamondbacks. I don't feel like Kyle Freeland has pitched horribly. He's kept them all on the ground. They're just going to really good spots in the infield, as this is set up for a double play, and Brendan Rodgers misses the throw to first. And so it is a fielder's choice and what should be considered a throwing error, although I don't think it will be. Brendan Rodgers misses the throw onto Chris Bryant, and he's safe at first. But we are on to a 3-1 count against Ketel Marte, and that one's going to be foul. Another 3-2 pitch from Freeland is launched into left field. Nolan Jones going to try to throw out the guy at second. Not in time. That would have been pretty crazy. 2 on, 1 out, a 3-2 count for Corbin Carroll. Kyle Freeland throws, and that is another one right up the middle. Brenton Doyle has an absolute cannon, though. Can he throw out the guy at home? It's just a second late. Brenton Doyle has one of the best arms in all of baseball, but he can't make this one happen. And that is another run for the Diamondbacks. It's starting to get pretty ugly. I would hope that Kyle Freeland can get out of this, as I don't want to bring in a new pitcher just yet, but I will if there is one more hit. 6-1 for the Diamondbacks. This feels very true to life, however, as Freeland will throw, and that one is walloped at the bat boy, the ball boy rather. The 1-2 pitch from Freeland leaves a slider way up, and Nolan Jones gets under this one. And the runner thought about taking off for third, changes his mind, knowing how good Nolan Jones' arm is. So now there's 2 down with Grichuk up to bat. Kyle Freeland will throw, and that is going to be yet another base hit. And the runner taking off for home, and safe is the call at home. It's Marte scoring an additional run. And that's going to end the day for Freeland. I think it has to. Bud Black will come on and take Kyle Freeland out of the game. Finishes 3 2/3 today. An absolutely horrendous outing from Kyle Freeland. And we'll bring on Tyler Kinley, who had a 6.06 ERA last season. Kinley's primary pitch is a slider, and we'll see that here on the 1-1 count. Left it way up in the zone, but it is popped to Brenton Doyle. And finally, we are out of the 4th inning, down now 7-1 against the Diamondbacks, who have 13 hits on the day. Well, the Rockies need some base runners, and in a bad way. It's the 5th inning, and they're down by 6. This is Ezekiel Tovar up to bat. A 1-2 pitch from Zach Gallen, and Tovar will ground it to third. Doesn't have insane speed, but not super slow either. But the throw is in time, and out goes Tovar. That brings up Montero, who does have a single, one of 3 hits on the day for the Rockies. And that was a decent one to hit, the knuckle curve up in the zone, but he missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and another one in the exact same spot from Gallen is popped way up. The catcher makes the play, and that is 2 down. This is pretty much how I expect the Rockies season to go. We're going to be really, really bad with the bat, and we have a really bad pitching rotation, but Brenton Doyle gets on base again. Last time he grounded into a fielder's choice, but this time it's a base hit. Charlie Blackmon at the plate. Really good against righties. A good circle change, though, from Zach Gallen makes it 1-2. Zach Gallen, one of the best in the business, of course, as another one that just falls out of the zone. His curveball and his circle change are nasty. Brings us to the bottom of the 5th, as Tyler Kinley still in the game. Eugenio Suarez up to bat. This is a grounder back at Kinley. Makes the play, throws him out at first, 1 down. Tyler Kinley, not one of our long relievers, so he doesn't have incredible stamina. So we'll definitely be monitoring that, as that's called a ball. His control so far seems a lot better than Freeland's. I don't know how you don't swing at that. Now a 3-2 count. Kinley's slider perfectly placed on the corner, and Gabriel Moreno strikes out. Back to the top of the order for the Diamondbacks. Kinley been decent so far. He's only faced 3 hitters. That is called a ball by the umpire. The 2-1 pitch that should be a 1-2 pitch is a circle change that is hit into the outfield. Nolan Jones will throw this back into Tovar, and Perdomo finds base. So are we going to get another 2-out rally from the Diamondbacks? That is strike number 2 on Rivera. No makeup call yet by the ump for that really bad call earlier, as top of the zone, Rivera strikes out. and Kinley gets out of the inning. Well, one of the key components to winning baseball games is scoring runs, and currently the Rockies have only scored one, as Brendan Rodgers is up to bat. The 2-1 pitch is a decent one to hit early is Brendan Rodgers, and that's an easy play for the third baseman. Brings up Nolan Jones, who is 0 for 2 to start the day. The 1-1 pitch from Gallen, and that is launched to left field. Will it get down? Not quite. Nolan Jones flies out. 2 up, 2 down for the Rockies. Ryan McMahon, who doubled the last time he was at the plate. Maybe let's see if he can get it over the fence this time. Honestly, we really just need base runners and then hits more than anything else, as that is a great pitch from Gallen. McMahon will see another on the 1-2 count, and that is a great cut fastball that comes inside. And that is the end of the inning. We do have a couple guys warming up in the bullpen, but Tyler Kinley has been good so far and seems to have a decent chunk of stamina left, so we'll let him continue. A 1-2 pitch to Marte is swung on and actually made contact with that. That was a good slider from Kinley. We'll go back to the fastball on the 1-2 count. He swings through it. Good location so far from Kinley. I've been relatively impressed. That brings up Corbin Carroll. And that one is launched foul. This will almost definitely be the last inning for Kinley regardless, so let's see if he can get out of it. And he strikes out Carroll for the second out. Really good outing from Tyler Kinley. Cleaning up the scraps left by Kyle Freeland in the inning he entered, and then has only given up the 1 hit thus far. Grichuk is up next, and he's been very good today. Would rather not face him. So the 3-2 pitch from Kinley is fouled off once again. And now the manager tip is saying that our pitcher is getting tired. Once these relievers get below half stamina, it says they're getting tired. Kinley, can he get the final out of the inning? Fouled off again. So another full count pitch from Tyler Kinley. Gets a grounder to Ryan McMahon. Very routine play, and that is out number 3. A good outing from Kinley means no more runs for the Diamondbacks. So the Rockies need runs, and they need them quickly. 1-7 is the score. The 1-1 pitch from Gallen is launched into left center by Elias Diaz, and he'll get on base. So a good start to the inning. And now Chris Bryant up to bat. The only guy to score a run so far for the Rockies. It's a decent one to hit from Kinley, but way underneath it. Excuse me, I said Kinley, Gallen. Kinley is our pitcher. That brings up Ezequiel Tovar with 1 down and still the runner on first. Gallen closing in on 100 pitches. That's a really good curveball. Zach Gallen's 100th pitch is another curveball, and I just can't see him. So Tovar strikes out. Montero up to bat. Leadoff single looking like it's going to be wasted. 1-1 pitch. Called a ball. 3 balls, 1 strike. Zach Gallen, the pitch. Great one to hit early is Montero. Full count here in the top of the 7th. And Montero will draw a walk. So runners on first and second for the speedster Brenton Doyle. He did single earlier. A single here might score a run. And just dribbles it though to third base. He'll step on the bag. And that is the end of the top half of the 7th. Now we'll bring in Peter Lambert to hopefully finish the game. He's one of our long relievers, has a lot more stamina than the other ones. He has a 1-1 count to Grichuk, who is 2 for 3 so far today. Hoping for no more base hits for him. First pitch that we saw from Lambert, not even close. So on the 2-1 count, leaves a slider way up. Grichuk crushes it, but it's well foul. So a 2-2 pitch from Lambert, who is not placing the first couple very well, but strikes him out on the corner. Christian Walker at the plate has not got on base yet today. 0 for 3. 2-2 pitch. Right down the middle from Lambert. Charlie Blackmon should make the play. He does. Isn't as fast as he used to be at 37 years old, but makes the play anyway. 2 up, 2 down for Lambert, but his placement of these pitches has not been very good. 1-1 pitch is a ball high. We'll see his changeup for the first time. 2-1 pitch. Changeup goes right back up the middle. Brenton Doyle been a busy man today. Throws that into Brendan Rodgers. A 1-1 count for Gabriel Moreno. Slurve misses low. 2-1 pitch. Lambert hits the zone, gets the call. Umpire missed a call very similar to that earlier. And now it's a 2-2 count. Can Peter Lambert get out of it? No. It's going to be a single to right field. Blackmon gets it back in quickly. The runner on second does not advance, but he does get to second. And now in scoring position We get back to the top of the order for the Diamondbacks. Lambert, who started with 2 up, 2 down, now has 2 runners on for the top of the order. That's Geraldo Perdomo. And Lambert, get out of the inning. Dribbler to Bryant. He will step on the bag. No runs scored, but not super impressed with that start for Peter Lambert's day. Zach Gallen finally out of the game. They'll bring in Kyle Nelson, who had a 4.18 ERA last season, 7-4 record. Looks like a pretty good reliever. Rockies are at the top of the order. It'll start with Charlie Blackmon. And fouls this one off to start the at-bat. 2-2 count, top of the 8th. Blackmon will look at this one, and now it's full. Pitch from Nelson. Well inside, and we've got a base runner. So Blackmon walks. Rogers now up to bat. We'll see what he can do on a 1-1 count. Grounds it to third as fast as he possibly can, and the Rockies are doubled up. Insult to injury for the Rockies as Brendan Rodgers grounds into a 5-4-3 double play. Nolan Jones yet to reach base today. By the way, that was right down the middle. An absolutely incredible pitch to hit for Brendan Rodgers, and just grounded it straight to third. 1-2 count for Nolan Jones. Grounds this one to second. Pretty routine play there. And the Rockies are 3 up, 3 down. Offense been hard to come by for the Rockies, and now we're at the bottom of the 8th. And there's not a lot of time left for them to come back in this one, let's be honest. Scores 1-7 as we see the 2-1 count from Lambert gets fouled off. I think ideally Lambert would finish this outing for us, but we'll see how this inning goes. Likely the last inning of pitching from the Rockies with the scoreline the way it is. 1-1 count for Marte. That misses inside. I would say that Lambert has the opportunity to potentially earn a starting spot in the rotation this season, just because our starting rotation is so terrible. 2-2 count. And Lambert, get him out. Called strike 3. Looking at it is Marte. A great pitch, just touches the corner, right where you want a fastball, high and inside. Corbin Carroll now up to bat here in the bottom of the 8th. Decent slider from Lambert, but Carroll looks at it. And Lambert get out of the 8th inning here against Corbin Carroll. Looks like he will, but Corbin Carroll got a hold of that one for sure. Nolan Jones is under it, though, and that's the end of the 8th. It'll all come down to the top of the 9th for the Rockies. Can they mount a serious comeback starting with Ryan McMahon? McMahon is terrible against left-handed pitchers, and that's who he's facing here with Nelson. Not a terrible pitch to hit, but fouled off. So now the count is full. Kyle Nelson's pitch is swung on and popped way up by Ryan McMahon. That is out number 1. Elias Diaz, who did single earlier, is now up to bat. Has really good contact. Elias Diaz has way better contact against righties than he does lefties, so this actually isn't ideal. Ooh, really good cut fastball to hit, but just foul. Would have been a home run had it stayed fair. Need a rally here from the Rockies. The pitch. Diaz pops this one way up. Honestly, is still trailing. Had to go all the way back to the warning track, but still a pop out. So 2 outs, and it's Chris Bryant up to bat. The guy responsible for the only run on the day. Launches this one to right center field. Will it get down? It looks like it's going to hang too much. It hits off the top of the wall, and Bryant's into second with a double. So the only bat that I would say is really popping today is this man, Chris Bryant. Nearly a second home run, bounced off the wall. I think it hit the yellow part of the wall and bounced back in. It looks like that's what happened. So there's a little bit of hope. I mean, like maybe 1% hope, but hope nonetheless as Tovar up to bat, late on the swing, fouls it off. 1-2 count. Kyle Nelson, the pitch, swung on and missed by Ezequiel Tovar, and the Diamondbacks will get the victory in their home opener. The Rockies fall to 0-1. While 1-7 is a little embarrassing, it's definitely not as embarrassing as the Rockies' real-life opening day, which I want to say was like 1-16 or something. Really, really bad. Kyle Freeland gets the loss. Finished with like a 38.5 ERA. In real life, definitely not quite as bad, but not that far off, to be honest. He only finished 3 2/3 innings and gave up 7 runs. So the Rockies only able to score 1 run on 6 hits. Diamondbacks score 7 on 16. We take a look at the box score for the Rockies. Top top three of the order did nothing other than Charlie Blackmon walking once. It's really the bottom half of the order that played very well. Chris Bryant was the bright spot of today's outing. McMahon got a hit, Diaz got a hit, Montero and Doyle both with hits, and then Tovar did strike out twice, did not get a hit. But the top three did nothing, and the bottom part of the order did everything. For the Diamondbacks, everyone except for Christian Walker got involved, and almost everyone had at least 2 hits. Ketel Marte only with the 1 hit, did strike out 3 times. Kyle Freeland, 3.2 innings pitched, gave up 13 hits, 7 runs, a 17.18 ERA to start the season. Tyler Kinley, I thought, was excellent through his 2.1 innings. Had 4 strikeouts. Peter Lambert wasn't quite as good, but got the job done. Definitely gave up a lot of powerful hits that just ended up flying out to like Nolan Jones in left and Brenton Doyle in center. But the relievers impressed me, especially a lot more than Kyle Freeland did. So the Rockies, unsurprisingly, start the season 0-1, a 1-7 loss to the Diamondbacks. And now we'll sim through this series against the Cubs, and in the next episode we'll get into the series against the Rays and probably sim the rest of April. So let's go ahead and sim through the date. Let's see what happens. Immediately we get an opportunity to join a game. I do have this setting enabled where it will give me opportunities to join games. Michael Toglia got the start, or at least pinch hit at some point today. The Rockies in the top of the 8th with 1 out and Tovar up to bat. I'm gonna just simulate to the end of this one. The Diamondbacks win 4-3. In the next game, we get another situation of importance. It's interesting that these are popping up so much. I left them like very, very rare to happen. The Rockies up 5-4, bottom of the 8th, no outs. Jake McCarthy on first and Eugenio Suarez up to bat. We'll go ahead and sim this one as well. And the Rockies get their first win on the season, beating the Diamondbacks 5-4 in game number 3. And in the 4th game of the series, we get another situation of importance. Apparently these pop up literally every single game. Top of the 8th, 1 out, 2 runners on, and Ryan McMahon up to bat against lefty Kyle Nelson. Gonna simulate this as well. And the Diamondbacks have taken the victory 5-3. The Yankees are offering the Rockies a trade here. Let's take a look at what this is. They are giving up Caleb Ferguson for Ryan McMahon. Caleb Ferguson, who by the way is injured, 27 years old, C potential, 73 overall relief pitcher, would be our best reliever with no shadow of a doubt, but I definitely don't think it's worth giving up Ryan McMahon for an injured relief pitcher. So we're gonna go ahead and decline this trade. So the Rockies, through the first series of the year, are 1-3, beating the Diamondbacks in 1 game, which is exactly what happened in real life. And then they got swept by the Cubs. So we'll see if that happens, as they did lose the first game. I saw that. And then we're in a situation of importance once again. Nick Mears is on the mound. It's 2-2 with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Go ahead and simulate to the end of this game. And the Rockies have gotten their 2nd victory on the season, beating the Cubs 3-2. And in the final game, we lose, and now Daniel Bard is eligible to be reinstated from the injured list, but will still be injured for about 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll keep him on the 15-day injured list, and we'll probably do that this time and one more time, and then hopefully he'll be back from his injury. Lucas Gilbreth is eligible to be reinstated, but will still be injured for about 2 to 3 weeks. We'll do the same thing for him, and there you have it. We sim through the first 2 series of the season. The Rockies are 2-5, which is better than they did in real life. So that'll do it for the first episode of the Colorado Rockies rebuild. In the next episode, we'll do the home opener against the Rays, and you'll see the rest of the month of April. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode and you made it this far, please hit that sub button. It does help me out a lot. We're trying to reach 2,000 subs now, which is a crazy goal, considering we started with nothing all the way back in August, and we've already reached 1,700, which is insane. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next episode, where we'll face off against the Rays.